a seaside town in northern France, an unlikely setting for a forced adoption network organised by Catholic institutions in Belgium. But until just a few years ago, this neighbourhood of Le Bourdon was home to several private clinics. The Villette clinic stood here, the Jean Bar a few hundred metres away. That's where Christophe was born, 64 years ago.
This is it. It's all been rebuilt. It doesn't look the same at all.
It's not the first time this Belgian man and his partner have visited the site, now somebody's house. Born in secret, Christophe is desperately seeking answers about his past. Despite years of inquiries, details remain elusive. He believes his mother gave birth on the top floor.
Up there, they used to call that the Belgian floor. I was born here. I spent a day here, then crossed the border from France to Belgium illegally. They had to hide us under blankets. My journey ended in Antwerp, and at 3 days old, I was already with my future adoptive parents.
Christophe came into the world under a French legal exception that allows women to give birth without giving their identity to authorities. Yet from the 1940s to the 1980s, many young Belgian mothers are thought to have been forced to give birth here before seeing their babies taken back across the border and sold in Belgium.
What I want is that we keep searching for answers, of course in the hope he'd find his mother, but also to find out how things happen this way. Who authorised it all?
For years, the couple have been investigating. Today, Christophe manages to open the front door and, for the first time, enters the building in which he was born. A journalist by trade, he's used to knocking on doors.
Hello. We're from Belgium, and I was born here in this clinic.
The occupants don't want to be filmed, but let Christophe take in the view. A view his biological mother would have seen 64 years ago.
I'm happy to have come here because, for a few minutes, I shared the same place as her. There's a connection there, and that's good.
All Christophe knows about his mother is that she was 19 when he was born. If she's alive today, she's well into her 80s. Aside from the search for his roots, one question torments Christophe. In France, children born to anonymous mothers are supposed to be protected by the state. So how can babies have crossed the border into Belgium to be adopted? Despite numerous requests, the town hall denied us permission to film. We followed Christophe and Colette with a hidden camera.
Je viens pour un petit renseignement. Je suis né à Le Bourdon.
Vous voulez signaler à personne
Oui.
d'autre. Et il est parti. En Belgique.
Voilà. Et comment est-ce que l'Office des étrangers à Bruxelles ne m'a pas reconnu en tant qu'étranger? Vous ne savez pas?
Je ne peux pas vous dire.
Non.
Pour ça, il faudrait peut-être aller voir au tribunal qui vous explique, mais moi, je ne sais pas du tout vous répondre.
Bien sûr, parce qu'il nous faut une explication. Y a-t-il un vide juridique ou bien y a-t-il une loi?
Voilà.
Je sais plus.
I don't know how many times I've been to this office, maybe 6 or 7.
C'est peut-être la 6e ou 7e.
And each time it's the same disappointment.
C'est la déception.
They're even a bit aggressive now, saying, "What are you doing coming here again?" We're starting to get on their nerves, but it's Le Bourdon that saw these Belgian babies coming through. They could at least say to themselves, we're the ones who messed up, so we could at least offer some help.
De les aider un petit peu quand même.
On the other side of the border in Belgium, Christophe's quest for information is proving no easier. This is the organisation responsible for his adoption. It still bears the name of its founder, Thérèse Want. Again, we're denied permission to film, but behind these walls, Christophe has managed to see a file on his case.
Apparently there's information on biological mothers. Obviously, my file is completely empty. On the file, it's written, envelope removed. They were always erasing information. We belong solely to our adoptive families, and they didn't want anybody to come looking for us one day, for whatever reason.
In these circumstances, it's practically impossible to find a trace of one's biological family. But over the years, adopted Belgians have been mobilising.
Vas-y, Debbie.
Debbie was sold to an adoptive family by a religious institution for 20,000 Belgian francs. About 500 euros today, it was a lot of money at the time. Christophe shows her the birth certificates of several Belgians born in secret.
We keep seeing a certain Monique Cortier, 31 years old, nurse.
With the adopted Belgians, even if there is 10 years difference, it's always the same woman, one for each hospital. For me, that shows it was very well organised.
There was a real system, a network where we keep seeing the same names, the same solicitor, the same midwife.
La même sage-femme.
During his research, Christophe discovered this old brochure in which Thérèse Want details her adoption methods.
If, for imperative reasons, the mother's identity must remain secret, we'll arrange for her to bring her child into the world in a neighbouring country. It's all there. She wrote it down. Didn't even try to hide it. Because at the time people said, it's all fine, she can go and give birth in France.
Born in Belgium or in secret in France, some 30,000 babies are thought to have passed through the network. 33 years on, it's still difficult for this woman to recount her past. She agrees to do so, anonymously. She's held on to this incomplete photo album. Pregnant at 20, she tells us how her baby was taken from her against her will. At the time, she was suffering from serious psychological problems.
Yes, I lost my child, my baby. It's so inhumane. I still can't really understand it. How could it happen? How were these decisions taken? I only found out years later that there was a get-out clause. I didn't know. I just didn't know at all.
Ik wist daar niet van.
The issue of Belgians born to anonymous mothers in France recently resurfaced in the federal parliament. This member was herself born in Malo-les-Bains. Following a payment which she's managed to trace, she was adopted by a family in Belgium.
For parents whose children were adopted, there's always a central question. Is my child okay? Where did they end up? I never spoke to my mother, but I'd like to have been able to tell her, at least once, that I'm doing well and that I found a loving home.
It's a tough cause to fight, but this lawmaker would like to see the EU put an end to mothers being able to give birth anonymously. In France, defenders of the system say it offers a last recourse for women who've gone past the legal time limit to have an abortion.
It should be possible for a mother who doesn't want to have children to give birth in the best conditions, of course. But the rules need to be much better framed, and the rights of the child should be protected alongside the rights of the woman.
To address this recurring debate, in 2002, France set up a body to help those born to anonymous mothers retrace their origins. None of the adopted Belgians we spoke to were able to do so this way.
Ik ben geboren in Duinkerke en op 5 januari werd ik in...
After weeks of preparation, Ingvild was able to organise this event in the Belgian Senate. One by one, victims of this child trafficking system took the stand to tell their stories.
With total impunity, Thérèse Want stole my childhood, my adolescence, our lives. Thank you.
All want official recognition of how they've suffered.
Silence, not doing anything, is to deny what happened. Just because it was a different time doesn't make it justified. Toying with little children's lives, sorting them one from another, saying this one's good for adoption and this one isn't.
With more and more people coming forward, Belgian authorities set up this centre in 2021. Here, trained professionals help adopted children retrace their origins. Ingvild has filed her case, but is still waiting for it to be treated.
We get about a dozen new files each week, so we already have quite a long waiting list. People have to wait more than a year.
As well as help investigating the past, Ingvild says adopted children should be given psychological support.
There are international studies showing a lot of suicides among adopted children. There can be difficulties in their relationship with their parents, with intimate relationships, in relations with children.
Sentiments which Benoit experienced until DNA allowed him to find his biological mother. He met her just before she died. Ever since, he's regularly visited this small cemetery where most of his ancestors are buried.
So this is my grandfather. He's the one who sent my mother to France.
Even if his grandfather never wanted him, Benoit feels a need to come here.
He started all the history of me. Here is my family. Here are all the stories, the gossip, the nice stories, the bad stories. 15 years of my life I lived other countries where I thought adoption, vibe, obsession will go as I go somewhere else. But on the end, I took everything with me everywhere. I also wanted to find peace. And that's where I probably was looking all my life for.
At 61, Benoit holds no more bitterness, even towards the priest who advised his grandparents to turn to Catholic authorities over their pregnant daughter. In 2021, Benoit wanted to leave a message in the register of the priest's former parish. The words have been crossed out.
And I wrote in, I was not allowed to find, but I found her. That's what I thought, and now I see that they put it out. It proves actually that it was a network, there was all a system set up. So many years after my birth, which is still like a secret.
Belgium's Catholic Church has expressed its compassion for victims' pain and called for an independent investigation into the adoptions.